Hi, welcome to this preview video for Dreamescape. Dreamescape is a brand new game, a solo or shared experience of highly hybrid thematic and narrative gaming experience for us, for the gamers. This is a game that has a very strong choose your own adventure element. Basically, your choices, your options guide you down a path in Dreamland where you're trapped in the world of the Dreamland, and Cthulhu is trying to get you trapped there forever and win the game. On the other hand, you're trying to find the solution down the choices and down the options throughout the story and the decisions that you make, from story card to story card, from skill check, from collecting artifacts, and from doing different things, so that you can finally find a specific key and a gate in order to escape and come back to the world of the living. This is a highly interactive and I would say captivating game, which really pops up as a very vivid, one should say, metaphor of taking the gamers into the world of the dreaming. But your opponent are throughout the different decks of dream cards, where you have different fragments of your dreams. The opponent there is Cthulhu himself, who is trying to get awareness of you more and more, and then finally trap you forever in his world. So in order for you to win and succeed, your character, which has a specific selection of skills and can develop and progress furthermore, have to go through a specific series of choices, decisions, quick turns, so that you can unravel down the path, the story, and hopefully, after a couple of plays, because there's no way you're going to win for the first time, get to the solution of this. Now, no two games are the same, because the game comes with a ton of options, a ton of different selections. Each selection is different, and there is no way, physically no way, to remember if you made the choice for a specific card out of the originally 450 throughout the campaign, which is actually close to its end now, and I'm urging you to check it out. 700 something cards in the basic edition of the game. The deluxe has 800 or 900, and the all-in has 1000. I'm going to add a link in the description of the video so you can follow up. Why I'm saying these numbers? Just to give you an understanding of how rich, different, and immersive this experience is, because each story card has its narrative path, which is very nice and captivating. It has encounters and choices and skills and different things for you to do to try to pass different skills. But that's not only it. It has a very clever key code mechanism that if you match specific cards, items you find, or lore cards with specific things, you can jump to different story cards and follow a different path. And depending on your success or failure, you can gain, I don't know, attributes, you can gain better skills, manage your skills effectively, and trying to slowly but steadily move towards winning the game. So very interesting. If you like solo or shared experiences, it's a fantastic solo game with choose your own adventure style elements. This is very nice. If you're a fan of Cthulhu, Lovecraft mythology, you're definitely going to love this. But the game itself, in all its aspects, in all its framework of design, aesthetics, I would say, options, art, iconography, whatever you name it, even the production of the prototype, the demo copy, it's fantastic. It really shines, and I'm sure it's going to be a huge success. It's already a huge success. I'm sure it's going to be an even bigger success down the road when more and more people discover about this phenomenon called Dreamescape. So join me at the table. I'll show you how the game plays. I'm going to add a link in the description of the video so you can follow the campaign, and if you're lucky enough, you can get on time to support the game and also gain some of the pledges and the rewards that they have there. I'm going to add timestamps in the link of the description so you can jump directly to the different portions of the road that you want to be checking if you're interested in specific portions. And then I'm going to come back at the end of this video for a final wrap-up about my very strong, very passionate, and very striking experience. Heads up, I loved the game. I'm looking forward to play it more and more of this new choose your own adventure Cthulhu narrative game. This was not the first time I had apparently awoken from a dream-filled slumber only to find myself trapped somewhere in between. Lost but lucid, this dream world has something curious about it, extraordinary, and seemed as real as my own. Writers of weird fiction stories call it the Dreamlands, fantastical realms drawn forth from the minds of dreaming humans. Often beautiful, sometimes sinister, the Dreamlands existed on another plane of entirely different of our own waking world. Whether it existed physically at all was a matter of conjecture, but I had been here before, as had other famous dreamers before me, and they knew that other beings, immeasurably more ancient and powerful than us humans, slumbered in the deep forgotten places among the stars, and dreamed also. The dreaming. You're trapped behind the gates of sleep by great Cthulhu Reli. Locked within a nightmare and unable to wake up, your dreaming mind has been fractured into many pieces. These shards and fragments lie scattered throughout the Dreamlands, exploring, living and dying alone. Your aim is simple: to recover them, escape and wake up. To do so, you must explore the Dreamlands, protecting your shards while shifting between your missing dream fragments, surviving encounters until you find a gates and a matching key that will lead back to the waking world. The powers of the Great Old Ones are of course set against you, eating away at your sanity, sapping your will and abilities and placing obstacles in your way. The reward for failure is high: to be trapped forever in a cage within your own mind. Dreamescape is a tough game to win. Some decks are harder than others and you'll likely die often at first. Repeat playthroughs will reward your experience as the story evolves and you learn to avoid traps and focus on specific goals. The knowledge you need to win is hidden down many narrative paths, so good luck, you'll need it for sure. Now, this is a demo copy, a prototype, which depicts roughly 1/5 of the cards included, and there are many more cards unlocked as we speak because the crowdfunding campaign is live. I'm going to add the link in the description of the video. But let's familiarize with the components of the game. The game comes with 6 character sheets. These are sheets like this one where depict different characters that they have the different abilities for different skills that they can use and different abilities. Over here, the portrait, there is a matching background story card for each of those, and this is the first tier and the second more advanced tier once you level up and you progress throughout the campaign. The interesting thing is that you can use those in the matching board while you play the game to slot it like that, revealing recessed slots for the different tokens, indicating the tier level and the abilities to be used. And this is binded together in this nice player board, which has also the experience track at the bottom and the different dials to track the stats in the game. So this is the character dashboard, as you can see, and the player has one to use. There is an experience tracker cube, which is used to track down this recessed track, the experience the player gains. At any given time, the player may decide to remove all of their experience to gain any of the bonuses that they are up to this point, and then they can continue gathering experience moving forward. We have 6 character story cards, 2 shard cards. Shard cards look like that and they dictate the difficulty of the level. You can either play with 1, 2 or different number of shard. This is 1 shard side and this is 2 shards. Okay, and the game comes with 2 shard cards. There is an event marker and a respective event tracker card. This tracker card, as you can see here, starts from the bottom, and as you progress, when you see the event indication during your story cards, you progress it and then you apply the respective event. This is the event card and this is a tracker starting at the bottom, and it moves along the way as indicated by the story cards, if and when they tell you to progress the event. There are 140 lore cards. These are the most important cards in the game. These include very important information about the game that you're trying to get possession of, and we explain more on that later. So again, this prototype demo box has 1/5 of the cards. So the total number of lore cards initially, because it's exceeded already from the successful crowdfunding campaign, was 140 lore cards. There are 32 condition cards. These have this red back. These are different conditions that you can gain, and they make your work more difficult, and you're trying to get rid of them in order to proceed easier. There are 120 cards, item cards. Item cards have black and silver back like this one, and this is the icon of the item cards. They're numbered, as you can see. They can either be unlocked or locked, unique. The unique ones are always referred by number, so the story card will direct you as a reward or something else to get specifically, for example, card 070. Okay, so you're going to retrieve it. I'm not going to show a lot of things because I don't want to make a spoiler, but just to give you, and this is a sample of the cards, of the item cards, they can be referred by number. So the story card tells you to gain 014 item card, and then you take it, for example, and you add it to your item. Or they can ask you to draw a random common item card, then you cut the deck in half and then draw as many, and then you can keep depending on the instructions. There is a variety of items that you can see. The iconography is really nice and fitting to the game, and the art the same. So just going roughly through some of the sample cards for the items, that they give you different abilities, different perks, and you can use them to your advantage based on the approach that you're going to take. So as a part of the setup, we start with some specific cards. We're going to explain more on that later. You see some of the item cards already there. There are 6 Mythos cards, Mythos tokens, sorry. These are these tokens that they can go and block different skills or abilities, so that you cannot use them and you need to get rid of them. We have 4 Elder Sign tokens, that these can be used once acquired for exchange for different bonuses. And then we have the Cthulhu tokens, which is this over here. The Mythos tokens are indicating the approach of the old ones, getting a deeper knowledge of your existence into the dreamland, and trying to get a better hold of you and make you lose the game. The game comes also with 16 focus tokens. These are these tokens here. These are depicting the different skills, which can be either physical or mental skills that you have. This is a very nice overview, one of the 3 cards of the game. And on the back you can see the phase summary. Speaking of reference cards, you can also have one more. For the statistics, these are the 4 statistics on the dashboard. We have Vitality, Deja Vu, Lucid Dreaming, and Sanity. Okay, and these are tracked by dials. For example, this character starts with 10 Vitality, and it can go up or down, and then if they go all the way down to the 0, you're going to lose the game, for example. There are icons on different cards, and this is a nice summary of depicting different icons. For example, this indicates an item, this is a lore, this could be free action, this could be banish a shard, story card, a hunter, or a success. All this will make more sense once we explain the game, but this is a very nice overview. On the back you can see some more information about the exploration, when you shift between realm decks, when you go to a different location, card identifiers, and dice rune rolls, and everything is handy and depicting, as a reminder, all the useful information. The last play rate has the lucid abilities. You can spend 1 lucid stat. This is a lucid stat, okay, the yellow one. The black one. This is a lucid stat. You can spend 1 of those lucid stats to gain 2 sanity and 2 vitality, or a different number of perks. This is what you can do with Deja Vu ability, spending Deja Vu. And also here is the Elder Sign ability tokens that I've shown you before. You can spend them for different things in the game. From the back, depending on the encounter of the story card, you can either have success or failure. If you have success, you're going to get some reward icons, and this is a reminder of what you can gain as a reward. And this is the penalty icons, what you can gain if you fail the encounter. Now, the next thing that I want to mention is we have a variety of Elder runes. These are these runes over here. Players start with 3 base runes, which have half and half sign on their back. These are casted, so you mix them and you throw them, or you can use a bag, which will come, I think, with the game if I'm not mistaken. And there are additional runes that you can gain from items, from abilities, from rewards, that you can collectively use to try to pass a test, for example. We have 3 dice, 1 elder die, 1 pip die, and 1 reward die. These are custom, the 2 of the 3 are custom dice. Again, this is a prototype, but it's really already looking very nice. I like the way these dice look like. And also here you have some wooden tokens that I think they're going to be part of the deluxe edition. If you use this tier on crowdfunding, you're going to get wooden markers, which will be even better from the cardboard ones. Now, the majority of the cards are the 450 story cards. And I'm already mentioning 450, but I know already on the crowdfunding campaign that this number has been already exceeded by a very large amount. So this is the story cards. We're going to gain more insight on the anatomy and how they work, but you have the narrative part, the different information here, which are going to be skill tests to try to pass, the success or failure depending on the result of your attempts. And these are location cards that can be either inactive or active once you have visited the location, and this is your active deck. So as you can see, they can identify it by different icons. So for example, this portal card, this location, has this icon matching this deck. So you put them together and you put the card on top of them. Now, how I separate them and place them around my playing area, this is part of the setup. So now you've seen all the components, we can proceed with the next part, which is setting the game up. Game setup. Set up the game and player tableau as shown in front of you over here. Some areas can be modified, but this is the basic idea. The first thing that we do is we set up the Dreamer dashboard, which is this one over here. Insert your chosen character in here, as you see, into the slot, and set the 4 stat dials to the starting positions. So for example, Vitality 10, Sanity 9, and the rest for the Deja Vu and the Lucid Dreaming, as indicated in the rulebook. Each character, in this case Rosalind Gutierrez, has a specific set of stats, and their dials are set according to the instructions in the rulebook. Then place an experience cube in the first position of the experience track, that is down here, and we go and place it here on the first slot. Following that, we retrieve the character backstory card and we read it. We place the 1 shard card next to your dashboard. This is 1 shard card if we're playing in the nightmare mode, or the 4 shard card if we're playing the quest mode. Then we draw 3 fortune elder runes. These are the base runes that we have. They have half of the runes sign from one side and the other half from this side. Keep in mind that these are not identical. Okay, more on that later when we roll / cast them. Okay, but we start with 3 fortune ones. The ones that I've shown you are called fortune elder runes, half an elder sign icon on each side, to create your dreamer's base of elder pool. Then we place the threat, which is the green one, condition, which is the red one, and lore, which is the golden one, pools, a deck of cards nearby. Second, we start with the starting items. We place all tokens to form a supply. We separate all item cards into 2 decks. The non-locked ones, which are here, the non-locked card items, and the locked item cards, which have the lock icon. We place them nearby, separate them, and keep in mind not to shuffle those cards. They're arranged by number for starting the game in easier use. Placing both decks face down within reach, we take the 01 Strange Heirloom card, which is this one, 01 Strange Heirloom, card and we place this card on this slot on above our player dashboard. This card provides a special Elder rune, so we take this also. As you can see, this is the Elder sign token, the Elder rune token that it's provided. In the small triangle you see the back of the iconography, so the front one is the Elder sign and the back one is the sign over here. So we take this card and we take the matching rune token together. This is card number 001. Next we take cards 02 to 014, so we take this deck, identify the cards 02 all the way up to 014, okay, and we randomly select 3 of those, 1, 2, 3, and place them around our player board. You can do that, or you can, using the Dream Easy variant, you can choose specifically which cards you want to take. Then we have the story decks. We separate each story deck with each matching portal card and shuffling each deck respectively, keeping the portal cards on top of the decks and place them within easy reach. Keep the 3 story decks separated from the rest. All locked story cards can stay in the game for now. This is locked story card because it has a lock icon here and here, as you can see, so we have 3 of those. For the moment you see just 2. And here we have the story decks, which have again the icon. This is the portal card, the portal location, okay, so active and inactive, and all the matching story cards have the same icon here, so you can easily differentiate them. This should be shuffled thoroughly, okay, and you place the location card on top. So the active locations are placed here in the middle. Which ones are the active, you ask? If you play with the 1 shard card here, it shows that these 3 should be the active ones, okay, so you have 3 active ones with their location portals on top. If you're playing with the 2 shards card, you have different selection, okay? So keep that in mind when you set up the game. So once we prepared all the story decks, any additional location cards, portals are placed to the side, as you can see, and these are placed on the locked side, because again they have 2 sides, the available one when they become available and the locked one. So all these are placed to the side, okay, for easy reach. Either place the deck of location portal cards within easy reach, passive gray sides facing up as I've shown you, to remain secret, or lay them out on the table if the table surface allows you and you have enough space. Finally, place the event marker on the blue start position of the event track over here, and you're ready to start the game. First nightmare. If this is your first time playing, the Elder Gods highly recommend to follow the specific tutorial that comes into the game. I had an opportunity to also play with a tutorial. It's a very good opportunity to show you a couple of rounds, and it shows you easily some of the steps, the phases, the 5 phases of your turn, which goes again and again. And in doing so, it explains a lot of interesting concepts as well. But this is just a tutorial. You need to first read or understand the rules. Winning. The goal of Dreamescape is to escape the nightmare by drawing one of the special Last Gate story cards. If your dreamer wakes up before Cthulhu can take control of the nightmare, you simply win the game. Losing. Losing the game is far easier than winning, trust me. You will need to play quite a few times exploring the dream world thoroughly, piecing together the narrative puzzle before you have a chance of escaping. There are 2 ways to lose a game. Either first by running out of shard cards, or second, your dreamer must place the 7th mythos token. These are the mythos tokens. If he or she is requested to place their 7th mythos token on their character sheet, then they also die. Shard cards. Shards represent the dreamer's largest dream fragments. 4 shards are available in quest mode, while nightmare mode only has 1. If the dreamer's sanity or vitality drops to 0 and shard cards are still available, draw the next highest shard card to continue. This is called changing shard, it's explained later. If the one shard card must be discarded, however, Cthulhu completely gains control of the dream and the game ends immediately. A quick anatomy of the shard card. You can see here the starting story decks indicated by the different symbols, and this can be different from card to card. You also have setup instructions when drawing this card. When drawing this card, you have some specific things that they are applied depending on the card. You have the card ability, special ability when card is in play. So here you may place one item on this card, and any item card stored here is protected from discarding items. And you can swap the item card stored here for another at any time. This is just a specific example on this card. We also have 3 ways to lose shard cards. First, if sanity drops to 0. Second, if vitality drops to 0. Third, if a story card outcome shows the death icon, which is, let me show you, this one over here. If any of those 3 cases would happen, this will force us to lose a shard, and therefore, depending on which mode we're playing, getting closer to losing the game. A word about Mythos tokens. We've seen them before. Mythos tokens represents Cthulhu's influence on the nightmare. When you must place a 7th Mythos token on your character dashboard, you lose and the game ends immediately. Dreamer characters. Dreamescape contains 6 Dreamer characters to play, each with a unique backstory to uncover. The character sheets and player dashboards are where you will track changes to your character's abilities in the game progress as well. The Dreamer sheet. Dreamer character sheets are double-sided and represent the level of power tiers the character has in the dream world. There is a different icon for each of the tiers, very easy to differentiate. This is tier 1, and on the back it's tier 2. The same goes with this character here. We will explain later on how you advance from tier 1 to tier 2. But for the moment, a very quick anatomy of the Dreamer. You can see, for example, you have the tier here indicated on this slot. This is tier 1 as it is from this side. From the back side it's tier 2. You have the skills used to attempt story tests. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Depending on the character, you have different skills. Not every skill is depicted there. There are different physical skills and mental skills, and each character has a different balance of those 2 different groups, but also all together. In any case, the available ones already known to the character are depicted in the slots. You have the Dreamer abilities. So in this case, Rosalind has 1 and 1, 2 abilities, which we're going to explain later on, and also the portrait in the center. Dream dice. 3 types of dice are used for variable outcomes in Dreamescape. We have the Elder die, which is this one, and this is the icon for rolling the Elder die, as you can see. Used for Cthulhu influence tests. Do not take a respective Cthulhu token penalty for rolling a Cthulhu face unless specified on a card. This is a Cthulhu face, as you see. We have the Pip die, a normal d6, used for outcomes such as suffer X amount of vitality, where X is the number of rolled on the d6. And you see the icon for rolling the Pip die is over here. And the last is the reward die. The respective icon for the reward die is over here, simply used for variable rewards shown on the different faces of the reward die, respectively. All 3 of them are called Dream dice. Player dashboard. The dashboard is where you track your Dreamer statistics, skills, abilities and bonuses during the game. The 4 dials show your character stats. We have Sanity here with blue, Vitality here with red, Deja Vu here with orange, yellow, and Lucid Dreaming with black. Here on top there are 3 slots, 1, 2, 3, depicting the item icon. These are called protected items. 3 slots to protect item cards from forced discards but not fade effects. This is the Dreamer portrait that you see here. A selection for character sheet to be slotted in, leaving spaces for tokens to be placed, as we've seen before. We have the experience track at the bottom, with, which records experience XP gained from the story encounters as it progresses, indicating the opportunity for the character to spend it, all of it, and then gain any of the rewards already acquired or covered. And the last is the stats, the 4 dials that change value during play. For example, if I need to drop my sanity from 9, I will get it here to 8, 7, 6, hopefully. I'll have to stop because I'm trying to win the game. So these are the information, this is information you see on the player dashboard. In regards to the Dreamer abilities, the Dreamer abilities are visible here at the bottom. We have 4 slots, and already you see this character has 2 abilities already expressed. This could be a variety of things, but just briefly to show you, for example, it could be gain a point in the stat shown, for example, this case 1 vitality, remove 1 token, gain 2 extra fortune runes for the next skill test, if it shows this one, spend something to gain something else, claim 1 extra reward from the active story card instead of only 1, or swap something with something else. This could be different abilities, again shown on the bottom of the character dashboard. Beginning. Every new game begins with the Dreamer lost in one of the realms of the Dreamlands. Each realm is represented by a themed story deck containing a portal card covering a set of story cards matching this specific portal card. The current shard card in play indicates the possible starting story cards. For example, here you see the different possibilities for starting locations, as we have seen, starting decks. You take the portal cards from these specified decks and select one randomly to be your starting active story deck. You place this card in front of you and then return the others to the top of their decks. For example, with this specific one, I have one of the options is to start with the Enchanted Woods. I will take this to be my active deck, place it in front of me, and I'll make sure that this is flipped to the active side because it has information about the event or some possible actions that they can take and some additional information. Okay, so this will be now my active themed deck. A major concept within the game is the Dreamer's Shattered Mind. Because fragments are scattered randomly around the Dreamlands, you will draw story encounters in a non-linear fashion, making the game sometimes feel disjointed, much like a real dream. It is your job to reveal this narrative jigsaw puzzle and piece the story back together for a complete solution. Realm story decks. Realm story decks are referenced in the game with a circle, as you can see, and they have an icon inside the white circle on the top left. This is often a deck-specific icon. For example, for Enchanted Woods, you can see this tree icon here, and every card in this deck has a matching tree icon to indicate that it belongs to this realm deck. Portal cards have a passive and an active side. The top card, as we've seen, is the portal card, and it has the active and inactive side. This is the inactive side, the passive side, and this is the portal active side. Again, here you can see, first of all, the portal deck icon, which is depicted in the circle, the big icon in both of them on the top left. Then you have the title of the location. Then you have type of icons, story-related icons such as city or ports are shown here. For example, maybe not here, but maybe here, for example. Yeah, you see, here has different story-related icons that you can find in this deck. Okay, it'll make sense, more sense later on. Also, you have from the passive side at the bottom a selection of commonly used skills. So you know that in this Dreamland you will be challenged and asked to have these skills checked in the deck. From the back side you have the active side, as we've seen. It can have a free action with the exclamation, so you can have the free action when the event indicates to do so. Okay, and here you have the events. As a reminder, just to show you, this is the event card. Okay, so we start with a token at the bottom and we progress up, and each time we see what happens next to the respective icon. So when we move to the slot number 1, because the story card will tell us to move the event with this icon, we will in the first occurrence here, we're going to lose a sanity. In the second one, we're going to be able to make the forage action. In the third one, we'll draw the card number 11, sorry. Then moving here, we're going to lose one deja vu. And then we're going to be asked to draw cards, for example. But this is done in a linear way because some of the cards here, and let me show you immediately what I mean, while going through the story cards, they're going to have the event icon. When this appears, you'll need to stop as a first actually part of your turn as an active round. After an active phase, you have to progress the event and perform what is expected. Locations on the other side, as you can see, they come with a specific hex, white hex instead of a circle. So realm story decks have a white circle, locations have a white hex. Locations are secret places within the dream realms that have their own portal cards denoted by the white hex and with a specific unique icon. Location portal cards have a passive gray side and a colorful active side, same like with the portal cards from the portal realm decks. After discovery, locations remain active for the rest of the game. So for example, we've seen that this is the inactive one, means that the town of Elnir is not discovered yet. That's why you see it locked. But then, when you discover it, you're going to flip it, and some options are going to be presented there, and they're going to remain discovered for the rest of the game. Of course, the story will direct you when to do so moving forward. Gameplay. Each turn is a sequence of 6 phases and followed in order. As you can see on the phase summary, we have 6 phases. We have the encounter phase, the first one, where you draw the top story card from the active story deck, check for events, and then read the encounter. Then second, we have the reaction phase. You choose one reaction option or follow a secret key code link. More on that later. Third, we have the resolution phase. Make a skill test or spend stat points. Fourth, we have the outcome phase, where we flip the card over and read our chosen test outcome. If it's success, the success. If it's fail, the fail portion of the card. Fifth is the result phase. You apply the results indicated and any rewards or penalties shown on the card. And sixth is memories phase. If the story card is not stored for rewards, you discard it to memories. As always, if a card contradicts a rule in the rulebook, the card takes always precedence. So this is the phase summary for the gameplay and for the round. So let's dive more into the different phases, take a better look. Phase 1, encounter. You draw the top story card. First of all, we have, this is the active location, so this is face up, indicating that this is the active site. We're in the Enchanted Woods. Okay. We draw the top story card from the active story deck and check for an event trigger. So for example, we'll draw this first card and check for event triggers. Now you see no event trigger here, but let's see if we had this icon. Okay, that would mean that we have an event trigger. If we have an event trigger, if an event is triggered on a story card, immediately move the event marker one step on the event track. That means that this marker is going to go there, from its previous location to the next step. And check the active portal card for the applied event. So now we're here, so the applied event in this active portal card means that the character needs to lose 1 sanity. As they dive and they go deeper into the Enchanted Woods, they start losing a bit more sanity. So that means I'll have to go to my sanity check over here, and from 9 go to 8. Dial it down so it goes -1. Okay, but if I was already here and I was moving up, I would do the respective event tier here. Okay, so what's on this event ladder, let's say, is different depending on which portal card you are actually at the moment. If the event specifies a unique story card, like this one here, 405, when the event goes all the way up, okay, or 537 when you go here, then immediately draw this card, and this card becomes a new active story card. The previous card is shuffled back into the story card deck. If the event marker is already on the top of the event track, when an event trigger occurs, it remains there and no event is triggered, respectively. Okay, so that's it. Now, let's go more into the story card anatomy. I'm going to use this one to show, but try to avoid reading it for spoilers. But anyway, I mean, there's no way you're going to remember the massive amount of 500, 600, 700, I think it's 700 at the moment at the crowdfunding story cards. No way. So the anatomy of the story card has the front side and has the back side with success and failure portions. So let's see how it works. It has the deck icon, which matches, as we've seen, the icon on the portal card. It has an event trigger over here, or not, depending on the card. This indicates, if we have the event trigger, that the event tracker marker must be moved, and that's the first thing that happens. Then you see a unique card code. This is a unique card code, reward for successfully completing the story card. We have secret icons, possibly here or here. We have a free action, possibly here. That means that the free action can be triggered. That means, for example, you can trigger the forage here. Okay. Then we have the narrative part, which describes the story, and this really puts us into the thematic portion of the game, which is the very fascinating part, in my opinion. Okay, so very nice thematic here and a narrative. And then you have the reaction options. Typically, you're going to have a selection of reaction options, and you're going to decide to do a reaction, okay? And then you can have some key codes here. Again, this is a demo, so there are not many key codes, but you can have, for example, icons or icons and numbers, and this is part of the key code mechanism of the game, which is fantastic, and I'm going to explain it later on. But for the moment, you just need to know that there are some key codes on the sides of the card, of the story card. Then, if you go to the back of the card, it has two portions, either success or a failure. So basically, we're going to explain this a bit more, but typically a reaction asks you to, for example, perform a different type of test. Okay, you can perform, in this case, a sneak disguise test. Okay, or you can perform a navigate test, or you can perform a trade bargain test. Okay, so depending which one you choose, you can either succeed or fail in any of the three. If you are successful, you read the success portion. If you're failing, you're reading the failure portion. Hopefully we're succeeding, but not always. Then we're going to focus only, if we're doing the sneak portion, we're going to just read the success for the sneaking portion. If we're doing the bargain, we're just going to read the bargain. Okay, so this will direct us with rewards, etc. But also keep in mind that beyond the outcomes, either success or failure, you have possibly experience points. Let me show you an example. So you could be earning experience depending on the card. So for example, if you see this icon, you progress down on the experience track by one, or you could have more than one. So how many cubes, that many spaces you progress your cube for the experience track. Okay. You can also have the success rewards. So the success rewards, as you can see, are located here. Sorry, the failure rewards are located here, or the success rewards are located here. We're going to explain this more. But this is the anatomy of the story cards respectively, okay? But for the first phase, it's very simple. The thing that you do is you just take the card, check if there is an encounter, an event, sorry, you read it, and then after reading the thematic narration, you see the options, then we proceed to the second phase. The second phase is the reaction. Let me show you again here. Second phase is a reaction. Keep in mind that story cards, when we are reading the story cards, they may have this icon. Okay, so this is an open story card code, or this is a locked story card. Story cards are narrative encounters, usually offering three choices that lead to fail or success outcomes on the back of the card. Unique story cards are referenced by the number, so number 453, for example, and they can be open or closed, okay, with this icon, as you can see. These are different, these are lore cards, okay, and these are item cards. That's why you have different shapes, okay, pay attention to the shape that you have. So this is the first phase, and going back to the just going back to explain something, continuing with the second phase, the reaction. Here, during the reaction, what you do from the active card that you just have, you choose one reaction option presented on the bottom of the card, or follow a secret key code link. If the active story card shows a free action trigger, you may then take the action by making a reaction choice or following a key code before making the reaction choice or taking the key code. So if it has, again, let me show you the free action icon like this one, during the second phase, the reaction, before choosing one of the three or following a key code link on the side, you may do the free action. Okay? Now, it's a good opportunity to talk about key codes. Okay? Because we said you either select one of the options here or you follow a key code link. The options again could be different tests, as we have seen. Now, the key codes. For the key codes, let's say that this is your story card, you may be able to, for example, use an item and match one of the icons by placing it like that. You see, you activate the last line and you have the same icon, so this is an active key code showing that you must follow card number 1128, for example. Okay, because then those two, let me bring it closer, the first tier is invalid. You need to have both icons from both same icons from both sides, so invalid, invalid. So only this has both same icons from both sides, so that means that you can jump to card 1128 because you can have now an active key code if you wish. So key codes are secret storylines that become available when you can match the key from an item or a lore card to its lock on a story card. Key codes must line up side by side on both cards. Doing so will reveal the unique identifier code for an alternative locked story card that you may choose to follow instead of the current card. The previous story card is shuffled back into the story deck. The reaction section of the active story card sometimes will also specify an immediate effect, such as modifying stats, for example, above the reaction options. This effect must be carried out before making your reaction choice. So, for example, it could show above this point here that you immediately lose one vitality, and then you must first lose one vitality and then choose a reaction option. Again, as a reaction, you can either select a reaction option presented on the card or follow a secret key code and navigate to another active card. Missing story card. Sometimes you may be instructed to draw a specific story card that is not present in either the locked or open story decks. If it is present in the memories of your rewards area, you draw it from there and gain one deja vu. If the card is still missing, for example, has been banished from the game, Cthulhu has trapped your current dream fragment. Immediately you take one Cthulhu token and choose an alternative reaction option from the current story card. If there are no other options available, immediately you take one Mythos and you discard your current card to memories and go back to phase 1. Cthulhu is closing in, so be careful. Phase 3 resolution. Each reaction option usually requires a test or skills or spending stats points to complete the encounter. If you choose an option that says end the encounter or tells you to draw another story card, the currently active story card discarded directly to the memories without claiming any rewards. So, spending stat points. To spend stat points, you reduce the applicable stat by the amount indicated. You cannot choose to fail this option. You must spend these points required or choose an alternative reaction option. So, for example, it can tell you that you need to spend 5 sanity or 3 vitality to overcome this obstacle. Then if you do so, you can progress by simply spending stats. But this needs to be an option on the card, the story card itself. Skill tests. To pass a skill test, in this case, we have 3 skill tests. For example, you may try to follow these creatures, foraging creatures, and then you need to do a difficulty level 3 sneak disguise test. Or, second option is to ignore them, preferring to trust your instincts. Then you need to do a difficulty level 2 navigation test. Or, if card 015 is in play, which is not in this case, then I stop reading because that doesn't affect me anymore. I would be able to do a trade bargain test. So I basically have 2 skill options, the first and the second line as you see. To pass the skill test, you must gain successes, complete elder icons, equal to or exceeding a test difficulty level. By rolling your dreamer's pool of elder runes, your dreamer always has a base of 3 fortune tokens, okay, that they are double-sided, depicting half of the symbols from each side. And then you can add more if you are you have knowledge on this specific, for example, skill. So if I want to do the disguise sneak skill, a level of 3 means I need to gain at least 3 elder icons, okay, complete elder icons, by casting my pool of elder rune tokens. But a skill of level 2, if this was 2 for example instead of 3, that means I would need to have 2. Okay, you can also have a 0 skill, that means you automatically succeed. When a card mentions to make a skill test of +X or -X, it means increase or decrease the test difficulty level by the amount of X. Skill icons on Dreamer's character sheet provide 1 additional elder rune. If a character skill is blocked by a mythos token, or a test is for a skill not present on the character sheet, then the test can still be attempted, but the bonus rune for the skill cannot be applied. If you fail to meet the required number of successes, you fail the test. So for example, here my base pool is 3, so I'm going to cast, roll 1, 2, 3 tokens, okay? If I'm performing the sneak disguise test and my character has this unblocked, then I can use again one more rune token to roll. And I could be spending using some items that provide more, or some artifacts, or some additional opportunities to have better chances depending on my inventory and my rune pool. Rune pool. Your rune pool consists of 3 base fortune runes, as we've seen. We get them during setup. 3 of those is the 3 base fortune runes. These are called fortune, gained from skills or character sheet and skill icons on character cards, and provide half of a success. Plus any further runes available from components in play. Runes are rolled once only, but additional runes can be added and rolled to mitigate poor results. Half runes must be combined to gain a full success, a full icon. So for example, if I rolled all 3 of those, nothing can be combined, because if they're combined, they don't provide a full symbol. But if I rolled at least that, then by combining, for example, 2 of those together, I have 1 full symbol, which means 1 success. Okay, so rolling one of the cursed ones, a cursed rune means a Cthulhu's influence over the dream has increased. Immediately place a Cthulhu token, means one of those, on one of your Dreamer ability spaces on the character sheet, even if subsequently you reroll the rune and get a different result. And rune symbols on cards show both the front and the back of the rune. For example, remember we started the game with the Strange Heirloom, which has this rune, which has a front and the back, which means I gain this one, which has a full success, but also has a cursed icon on the back. Okay, so if I roll this, then I will be gaining 1 Cthulhu icon and blocking 1 slot. So the rulebook comes with a very good skill test example. For example, avoiding the temptation of a good pie the player hopes to purchase a shantank, and therefore attempts the bargain trade level 4 skill instead. His elder rune pool contains the 3 base fortune rules plus 1 for having the trade skill on their character, as we've seen. He also has the earthly coins item card, providing him with this icon, so can add 1 more fortune rune. He has 2 reward cards showing this icon, so they can spend both of them by discarding them for 2 more fortune runes, discarding the cards to memory, so they loses him. And finally, he chooses to add 1 special rune from his Strange Heirloom item, and then he has a collective pool of all these. He rolls them, and he has 7 rules in total, so he rolls them and gets 3 successes. By matching half icons, you see, matching half icons, he creates successes. So he gets 3 successes, not enough to pass the test, and worse, it attracts Cthulhu attention, as he has rolled 1 of those, covering 1 of his ability spaces. Then he does have another reward card showing a full success, an automatic success, but also an item with a reroll icon. So he chooses to use first the reroll So here he rolls his heirloom, and then he gets the 4th success. He's lucky, so he can pass the test, but then that doesn't mean that the effect has not been applied because he has already rolled it before. So he gets the reward for this test by passing it. There is a list of skill checks that can be found in the rulebook, but just to give you again a reminder, you can have either physical or mental skills. Okay, each skill in Dreamescape represents a group of similar mental and physical skills employed by the character to progress through the dream. It can be different physical skills from might, sneak, disguise, agility, fight, mend, aid, manipulate, or move. Okay, or mental skills like investigate, think, learn, communicate, bargain, invoke, rest, deceive, navigate, distract, entertain, will, resolve, or observe. These are different types of skills, and they can be found throughout the stories cards throughout the game. I don't know if it was obvious, but you know, when you have a pool of tokens, rune tokens to roll, you just cast them. Okay, so you just throw them in the air and let them fall on the table, or you just throw them like dice. Okay, and then depending on the sides that they land, you can try to. This was a very poor roll. Okay, no success. But then depending on the sign that they end up, you can either have full successes or trying to join 2 halves together to create a success. Now, moving to phase 4, outcome. After making a test, you flip the story card over to read the relevant outcome paragraph on the reserve that matches the reaction option chosen. For example, we are here, so we've done the disguise test, and let's assume that we pass, so we flip. Instead of going to the failure, we go to the success. We only focus to the relevant disguise outcome. We read it out loud, and then we proceed to phase 5, which is the results. We apply the results of the relevant outcome paragraph and advance the experience tracker cube. If you have an experience icon cube here, or you can have more than one, then you progress that many spaces down on your dashboard below on your experience track. Additionally, many story cards also have rewards or penalties that can be applied depending on whether the test was succeeded or failed. So you can have, for example, story rewards. Story rewards are shown at the bottom of the success section. They can be used immediately or stored in hand for later use. You have a maximum of 7 cards, not including the 3 locked ones that you have here above your dashboard. And only 1 reward option can be claimed unless 2 or more matching symbol icons are shown. For example, in this case, if it was a success, I can decide one of the 3 to take, either this one, that one, or that one as a reward. But if it shows 2 times the same icon, okay, I cannot find anyone here, but let's say it had 2 times the same icon and 1 different one, that means you can claim both. Okay, stat or experience changes, you raise respectively the applicable stat or XP depending on the icon shown. Okay, and again, for example, these are there it is. For this card, if I keep it, I gain both of the rewards. Okay, and it could be different rewards. It could be, you know, increase in sanity, so both increase in sanity and deja vu for this one. But let's say I gain 1 card of these. These have skill icons, and I can discard them to be able to use one fortune rune for the respective test in the future. Okay, and if I have discard 4 of the same one, so 4 disguise, then I can gain the disguise. Okay, now this is not a disguise, but I can gain the respective icon and slot it in one empty of slots here, so I can gain 1 more skill. Respectively, I can have penalties, and those are also shown here at the bottom. So for this case, for example, you see I have this penalty here, or I can have a different selection of penalties. In contradiction to the rewards, which I select 1, I have to apply all the penalties. So all penalties shown on the failure side of story cards are resolved immediately. Tokens and other penalties are explained on the reference cards. So if you gain conditions or hunted tokens, they must be added to the applicable card in play, or otherwise can be ignored. Okay? Or if you show you to lose stats, you have to lose them. For example, here I need to lose 1 sanity. Okay, so everything is explained, and you have to apply all of them. This is the important thing to remember compared to the rewards. failing tests. Even if you fail an encounter, your dreamer still learns from experience. You may still advance the experience track if an XP icon cube is shown on the card. It often pays more to do mistakes. You learn from your mistakes so you can succeed in the future. So that's one of the approaches in this game. So just typically to show the typical rewards that you have. So here are some typical rewards. For example, you can have stat increase. Okay, so you increase the applicable stat by 1, depending on which icon it shows. It can have a reroll. You spend to reroll or roll a single Elder die or an Elder rune. Elder Sign, you spend it to automatically add 1 success to any of the tests or to use a character ability. And this one is the reward die. You roll it immediately and claim the indicated reward as shown on the reward die, which is, as I've shown you previously, this one. So these are some typical rewards that you can find. Phase 6 is very simple. It's called Memories. After completing the active story, and if it has not been stored for rewards, gained as a part of a reward, you discard it to Memories. If you're ever unsure what to do after completing a story card encounter, discard the card to Memories and draw a new story card from the active story deck. You continue this 6-phase sequence until you either find a special last gate story card and win, or run out of shard cards and lose. You could also end up having empty story decks. If the active story deck is empty of story cards, immediately you gain an Elder Sign token, and then you choose a different, not locked story deck to become the new active story deck. If a story deck is specified, for example, by a story card outcome or by some actions, but is empty of story cards, you immediately take back all the relevant open story cards from memory, shuffle them to reform the story deck, and proceed again with phase 1. The Dreamer memories are turning stronger than before. Some quick additional rules. We have the Elder Sign tokens. These are these sign tokens here. When rewarded with a rare Elder Sign token, store it on your dashboard. Elder Sign tokens have 5 possible uses, and then you discard it after use. You automatically pass 1 skill test. You can remove 2 condition tokens. You can cancel out a Mythos token. You can remove 1 Hunted or Super Hunter token, or you can pass a single stage of a threat challenge by discarding Elder Sign tokens. The exploration. Traveling between realm story decks or locations is called shifting and represents you jumping between dream fragments. So you can be doing shifting between story decks. Let me find the relevant play rates. So everything is very nice on these play rates. There are 3 ways to move to a new realm story deck. Shift deck. The deck icon shows often where to be indicated. So for example, if it shows a circle with an icon, then you need to shift to a different deck respectively. You replace your current portal card, returning passive side up to its story deck, with the new one active side up. You reset the event marker to the lowest level of the event track, and you begin again at phase 1, drawing a story card from the new active deck. You could have this icon, which means change around deck. You take all realm portal cards, excluding any that are locked, shuffle and select one randomly. You place all other back into the respective story decks and then follow the steps above that we described. You can also have this icon with the blue arrow. Choose a specific realm deck. It is your choice which realm story deck becomes active, and then you follow the same steps like above. Then about locations, because these are realms, the circles, and these are locations, okay, the hexes. There are 3 ways to shift locations. Discover switch to a new location with this icon, indicated by the icon. You place the locations portal active side up on top of the current active story deck, then start at phase 1 by drawing the linked story card shown on this location portal, and this new card becomes the active story card. You can have the blue arrow, which you choose specifically a location. Some cards allow you to choose from all previously discovered locations, and you draw a location portal card and follow the step above. Or you can have specific icons here, or you can be banished from a location where you have to drop out. Now, let's talk about items, okay, and gaining items and using them for our quest. As I've shown you before, items have this back. Item cards have this icon. They have silver and black backs with this icon. There are 2 decks, the locked and the unlocked ones, the open ones, the common ones as they're called. Specific item cards can be referenced by indicating which number card you take. For example, again, as shown here, if you have this icon indicating card 5, 4, 3, you need to identify and pick this card specifically. The anatomy of the cards is very easy and simple. You have barter value here. Items can be traded with barter value. The function some cards can have, for example, here, you see, it has a function. Then you can have key codes, if any. You can have the item rule and ability described here. For example, that's an ability. And then you have the title. And you can have possibly the fade icon, which is shown here, for example, on the top. A chance for the item to be discarded. Item cards are resources to aid the dreamer's adventures. When told to gain specific items and cards number specified, you cut the it's not specified, then you cut the deck open and draw that number of cards. Items from the locked item deck will always be referenced by a unique code. If you are told to draw a card but you already have this card in play, then you simply place one of these tokens on card. And if you are called to have it faded as a result of the fade option, you just discard this one and still keep the card. So it's just having an extra copy theoretically by doing so. You can protect cards. As Cthulhu exerts the influence on the nightmare, item cards fade from the dream of the dreamscape. So if you find this icon again, that means that you need to discard discard a card item, okay, indicating, or discard a reward card, or discard a lore card. Okay, so now we're here for discarding an item card. So you have 3 slots. So these 3 slots, 1, 2, 3, for placing 1, 2, 3. Okay, I squeezed everything here, but here should be slots for 3 item cards. We start with our strange heirloom already protected. These are protected, and you have also a hand limit of another 7 item cards, excluding the 3 protected, so 7 plus 3. These special slots above are the character dashboard, are for storing item cards. These are protected from forced discards, such as penalties or story cards, and fade effects. So if you have the fade effect, that means that there is a possibility for Cthulhu having you to forget about the item and then lose it from the dream. So if the fade icon is shown after using the item, you need to perform a fate test. To make a fate test, you roll the elder die, which is this one. And if you roll anything else, it doesn't matter, but if you roll the Cthulhu result, that means that you have forgotten about the card, and then you have to discard it because it fades. There is also, as I said on the cards, the item cards, the bartering value. For this one is 2, for example. The test difficulty of a trade skill, which is this one here, can be mitigated by using the bartering and exchanges. So the barter value item is shown at the top left of the card. Each point of barter value provides +1 full elder symbol success. Okay, so by discarding it. So if I discard this card, it gives me 2. Okay. So another thing I want to mention are the lore cards. These cards here, the golden ones. Lore cards provide the secret knowledge necessary to win the game. They are gold and yellow colored with the open book icon. So for example, this icon refers to the lore cards. Okay. These are the powerful cards that you need to retrieve trying to get the gate, for example. Okay. This is the anatomy of the cards, just showing one. So it has the title on the top. It has key codes, possible key codes for using them. It has function, possibly, and it has the lore ability. And sometimes it has art, or sometimes you can have narration there. So not showing more because I don't want to do any spoiler. Okay, so again, not going to remember anything of what I'm showing you, but trust me, it's better to identify them during your play. Gaining conditions. This is negative, of course. Okay, it has this icon, so if we gain conditions, we can gain, for example, nauseous, okay, or terrified, or something different. So when we gain conditions, we acquire them by specifically discard. So gain condition XXX, for example. Okay, so that means we gain this condition, we keep it in front of us, Usually when it comes, it asks us to add that number of icons. So if I gain, for example, let's say the terrified, okay? That means when I gain it, I have to place on top of here 3 such icons. Whenever you lose sanity, you lose additional sanity equal to the number of these tokens on this card. Remove one of these every time you gain 1 lucid dreaming. Okay, so you need to try gaining lucid dreaming to remove this, and then once these are removed, then you can discard the condition which you want to do it, because you don't want to end up with having conditions, because as you have imagined by now, they affect you negatively because they are, yes, conditions. You can also have hunted conditions and super high hunter conditions, okay, which have some special minor rules and have specific tokens that you want to get rid of them. And then you can have skill focus. The skill focus are these icons here. These are the tokens, or you can have the wooden ones, the yellow ones if you're getting the deluxe edition. Focus tokens are upgrades to a character's base skills. To gain a focus token, discard 4 reward cards showing in the matching skill icons. Elder icons can be substituted for this requirement, and place the applicable focus token over the matching skill of your character sheet. Okay, so basically I don't acquire a new focus, I just go and have now the specific focus that I already had. For example, let's say I had the negotiation, the narrative, whatever. I'm just placing this one to show that now it is focused one, okay? So I have it as a focused skill. So I'm placing it over the matching skill over there. Once you place it, the focus skill provides 1 master rune to the dreamer's rune pool instead of the base skill fortune rune, okay? So whenever I make this test, if it is focused, normally I would gain a base fortune rune, but if it is focused, like here, I would gain a master rune, which, as I have shown you before, it has either 2 successes, sorry, 1 full success or no success. So again, the master one instead, which is very nice because there is a 50% chance to get a full success by a single rune token with no need of combination. Focus tokens can also be used to cancel out a mythos token. This is the mythos tokens if you have one placed on your dashboard. Gaining from experience. So whenever your experience has progressed, okay, you can decide to gain any icon shown below or before the current position of the experience marker. Claim it by resetting the experience tracker to its starting position. So I can get any of those already passed or already on, for example 2 vitality, but I need to reset my experience all the way to 0. The final benefit of the experience track is called talent tile, this one over here. And to claim this benefit, you reset the experience marker and choose 1 tile from those available, and talents will be explained from reference cards because they're quite powerful. Last but not least, we have the threat challenges. Some instances in the game they're going to ask us to deal with threats. Threats again are like skills, okay, but the difference are they are very harder than ones. You have to go and do them by order. So first do this, second do this, and third do this, okay. But you can have, as you've seen, red and black. The red ones are compulsory, the black ones are mandatory to do so. And you have to do them by performing a disguise, then I don't remember this, how it's called. This is called an observe, then a fight, and then a manipulate. And you can potentially, if you want, do the remaining one, which is the other 2, the black ones, okay, the might and the agility here. So they have 3 fragments, the 3 columns. So hunted cards and some story cards will lead to specific combat challenges, which are the threats, okay? And a threat challenge is like a normal skill test, but in 3 stages. Each stage shows a skill test difficulty above the applicable skill icon, so skill level 4, 4, and 3, that's a tough one, right? Skill icons in red are compulsory stages, while black are optional. Stage 1 must be completed before going to stage 2, so stage 1 before going to stage 2. To complete the challenge stage, roll as many Elder Runes as you can apply. You complete it by completing each stage immediately provides the reward indicated below, so each stage gives you the rewards shown here. You may choose to stop the challenge before attempting an optional stage, so you can stop here and then don't get the third time the rewards, if so. After completing the challenge or choosing to stop, discard the threat card back to its deck. Success outcome of the active story card. Failing any stage ends up with a challenge immediately, and you must apply the challenge penalty shown on the top left corner of the threat card, so lose 3 vitality here. Wow, okay, tough. And then you return it to the current active story card and read the failure outcome respectively. So essentially they are like skills but tougher ones, that's why they're called threats. Gaining Cthulhu tokens. So remind you, these are the Cthulhu tokens that you gain it's a negative effect, okay? So Cthulhu tokens represent the great old one's awareness and influence on the dreamer's nightmare. When gaining this, you place it on any character ability space on your character sheet that does not already contain a token. So any of those here. Of course, I'm not going to start with this one, which are active abilities for me. I'm going to start here. But as I gain more and more, these spaces will be covered. At some point, when I have covered all 4 of them, and then there is a need for me. Of course, if I cover an ability, I lose the ability, okay? So I lose this ability if I cover it. If all of those are covered and I need to place a 5th one, then what I do is instead of placing a 5th one, I remove all of them from the slots, and instead I place a Mythos one in one of those. Okay. This skill bonus now is blocked for the rest of the game unless you can somehow remove it. Now, the last thing I want to mention is using lucid dreaming. Lucid dreaming is the dreamer's most powerful ability. It allows you to take direct control of the dream by influencing the outcome of certain story encounters. Spending 1 lucid dreaming point stat immediately gains you 2 sanity and 2 vitality, even if either stat would just drop to 0. Spending 5 lucid dreaming stats allows you to raise the dreaming tier level from 1 to tier level 2 by flipping this card and inserting it back in. This is tier advancement. And by spending 1 lucid dreaming, you can gain 2 success icons, elder symbols, for a threat challenge state. Using déjà vu, which is this one. Déjà vu means already seen, the phenomenon of having experienced the same occurrence previously. In Dreamescape, your powerful ability represents the dreamer's scattered recurrent dreams. You may use this ability to repeat dreams, remember a previous dream option on story cards by spending the points indicated, or recall memories, spend 1 déjà vu point in order to immediately return 1 story card of your choice from memories to rewards area and shuffle it back into the story card. Remember special location, spend 3 déjà vu points to shift between a discover location card, and for knowledge, spend 1 déjà vu point to gain 1 success symbol for a threat challenge state. Now about progression and changing shard. You see, this is our shard card, remember? We started with this one. For the quest mode only, when changing shard card, make the following additional changes. First, recycle all memory cards back into the story decks, making sure to separate open and locked cards. Second, discard all current items except 001 and any other protected slots of the dashboard, unless you spend 1 elder token like that in order to protect it. You may spend, the non-protected that is, you may spend 2 déjà vu points instead for each additional item card you wish to keep. Note that lore cards are not discarded. Third, you discard all condition cards, including all hunted cards except the super hunter cards, and reset both sanity and vitality to their starting levels. You reset the experience track to its starting position, and you swap the previous shard card for the next highest numbered card, following any setup instructions. You draw the portal cards indicated on the shard card, choosing 1 randomly, and then you use it as an active story deck. We spoke about tier advancement. This is very simple. If you spend 5 lucid dreaming points. You replace the character sheet in the dashboard by flipping it and slotting it again from the back side, the tier 2, so it shows tier 2 instead of tier 1 here. Then increase the dreamer's current stats by the amount shown on the character table on page, respective page on the rulebook. This is this one, so this is for tier 1 and this is for tier 2, so you increase your stats essentially. You may also discard one Mythos red token from the character sheet and redistribute any other ones that remain to cover different skill positions. And also, as a reminder, you increase from sometimes 7 to 8 the items that you can have, excluding the protected ones that we have on top. Okay, so this is for a non-protected one. We have 7 as a tier 1 or 8 as tier 2, and also it shows you the reward cards that you can keep. In most of the case it's 7 for tier 1 and 9 for tier 2. The game comes with a saving mode, and how to save the game, it's very simple. Couple of steps to save the game, and then a refreshing save to continue saving, so you don't have to continue playing until the end, and that's a very nice option in addition to the game. So there you have it. These are all the options you need to know about how to play the game, the Dreamescape. A very interesting choose your own adventure, highly thematic and highly vivid and immersive game. So let's join back up for my final opinion about the game. Fantastic game, a fantastic solo experience that I'm telling you right now. Once I get the final production copy, which is going to have this demo box had 1/5 of the cards, even less, with all these things that are going to be unlocked down the road and already unlocked in the campaign. It's going to be a game that it's never going to be out of my, I don't know, vacation suitcase, I should say, because it's a game that I'm always going to bring with me. Of course, it's also a shared experience. You can play it with someone else and make the decisions together, but I think it's mainly a solo option, a solo game, where you can deep dive into the thematic, captivating choices, really get behind the selections and the choices of your characters, get behind the background story and feel yourself in their shoes, feel that you're making impactful choices, that they all pile up and they all come together as little knots in order to give you the continuation down the road and towards the conclusion. It's a difficult game, I'm telling you, it's not easy to win, but it's one of those games that the voyage, the travel is what's important, and not the end destination. And not that the end destination is not good, the end destination is fantastic, but I'm telling it in a way so that people are not discouraged if they fail or if they are not finding an easy way to win the game. But every session they're going to become better. I have become better myself already. You're going to discover more parts of the story, you're going to make different selections, different options. Every game is different from one another. Every game you feel that you are the protagonist, the leader of this I don't know, thematic movie, thematic game, thematic experience, and every single game delivers successfully what is intended to do. I'm highly recommending this to people who are Lovecraft, Cthulhu fans. If you love Cthulhu games, you definitely should check it out. If you love choose your own adventure games, you should definitely check it out. If you're a solo gamer and you like captivating thematic narrative games with simple fast turns but with meaningful gameplay and meaningful choices, you should definitely check it out. I think the amount of narration text ratio to the gameplay, for me, it's fantastic. It's not too much, it's not it's not too big text and not too many, you know, sometimes if you get into a lot of text and big paragraphs, I've seen that in some of the games, it tends to become more difficult to follow, or especially if you're playing with other people. But this game has just enough of narration to put you into the theme, from one story card to another story card, and the way that you jump from one location to another location, for making choices, for passing skills, for using your stats, for discovering items, for unlocking things, all these things blend together fantastically in an excellent way. So mechanical point of view, by game design, I really love this game. By theme and by narration and options and story, I also love this game. So basically I'm just looking forward for this to get published so that I can deep dive in all depth of what it has to offer, and it's a lot that this game has to offer, with a lot of replayability and a lot of full rich gaming experience. So highly recommend it, don't miss it out. This is Dreamescape.